There are a lot of fish, crocodiles, big flocks of birds, and majestic animal groups. Have you ever seen so many of these lovely creatures together before? Today we'll display 40 of the most bizarre animal group feeding scenes ever photographed. There's something in this collection for everyone. Ever witnessed a school of fish at once? As she scatters food into the water, this young girl appears to have gained complete control over the school of fish. There are so many that the stream is so full that the water has turned orange, and some fish are even flying around with their tails out of the water. As he moves through a massive mob of ravenous ducks, this man is dividing the sea of ducks. As he empties his bag of duck food onto the ground, the ducks gather to eat and obligingly make a place for the guy to pass through the woodland. However, there is some opposition. Some of the poor ducks outside seem unable to obtain nourishment. Have you ever imagined witnessing a gathering of albino snails enjoying a feast? These snails have entirely white bodies and a shell that is often brown in hue. Since they each have a place to eat as much as they like, this species is much more subdued than the ducks and fish. One additional snail joins the group near the conclusion since it doesn't want to miss out on the fun. This pasture is filled with so many horses running around that it's impossible to keep track of them all. Around 10,000 horses are allowed to roam freely in this field in China. As they appreciate the sensations of freedom and the breeze blowing through their majestic manes, you can hear their joyful sounds. What a breathtaking sight. Have you ever been up close and personal with a herd of deer? Every day the herd comes to this woman's house to seek food, and they don't appear in the least bit frightened of her. Normally weary animals, deer have grown to trust this woman as a result of her compassion. So lovely. Where on earth are these sheep heading? There are some really loud dogs barking in the background that are directing this flock. The flock is being moved through some spectacular tunnels on a lovely scenic road. For the summer, they're presumably being moved to a higher pasture where they can enjoy the sun. What do you suppose the length of this road is? This menacing-looking group of crocodiles starts grunting in a scary manner. There is no way anyone would swim in this murky-looking pond since they would be surrounded by some of the most terrifying critters on Earth. The crocs appear ready to bite into anything that dares to approach, with their mouths wide open. What is the origin of all these crocodiles? Another beach that is filled with crocodiles, and this one has so many of them that they're crawling all over one another. Given that there are so many other crocodiles around you, it must be pretty irksome. In fact, you can see that some conflicts are beginning to break out. In our opinion, there are too many sharp teeth in this area for the crocodiles to risk engaging in a fight while they're snapping at one another to clear the path. Turtles from the Hunu tribe enjoyed such fine food. This dude is slicing up a watermelon and dumping it into some turtle-filled, filthy water. He then continues offering some fish that have been sliced up, which the turtles subsequently consume. Then some turtle food pellets and even bananas. The turtles are ecstatic to obtain such new, delicious delicacies, and they're swimming about anxiously, trying to catch a bite. Eventually, the man himself falls into the pond. Let's hope the turtles don't try to nibble on him as well. In this video, which was captured on an African safari, a guy bravely faces up against some cheetahs. He opens a large container and begins tossing meat to the cheetahs despite the fact that there's nothing between him and these deadly wild creatures. They get disinterested in eating the guy as a result, and instead begin chasing and fighting for the flesh. Fortunately, each cheetah receives a small reward and runs off to eat dinner. While they wait to be given their supper, these lions are very patient. Each lion receives his own piece of meat to eat, and they all wait together as some individuals scatter the meat over them piece by piece. When a lion gets his food, he sprints off so no one can take it from his mouth, and he looks for a peaceful place to relax to devour it. In Australia, this woman is smothered in wild cockatoos that are all looking for food. They wait patiently on the ground for her to feed them once she kneels down and retrieves a bag of food. The male flamingos in this large group are prancing about to impress the females and perhaps find a spouse. These wild pink birds do a comedy dance as a courtship technique, but boy does it look ridiculous. These birds, which are found throughout South America, are easily recognized. If they're fortunate in finding a mate, perhaps these birds will treat themselves to a celebration dinner of fresh fish. You've never seen sheep footage like this. This aerial footage depicts a large flock of sheep being moved to a beautiful meadow with little ponds and lush grass where they may freely graze. These content sheep are part of a community in Peru and are obviously properly cared for. Observe several wild African grey parrots scavenging for food on the ground in this fascinating video. But then they all at once soar into the sky and fly away. Someone must have given them a little shock behind the camera. The sight of all the wild parrots swooping across the sky is amazing. They're so majestic and you can't help but feel that. Since birds are supposed to be free and soar through the wind, they shouldn't be held in cages. There is some adorable footage of some extremely fortunate monkeys. These monkeys are stealing some of the delicious fruit to eat for themselves after finding a group of fresh peaches. The peaches may have been left out for the monkeys by a very compassionate person, or perhaps the cunning monkeys are robbing. What do you think? This man was able to feed many adorable baby sparrows directly from his palm. These birds are often fairly timid and dislike being approached by humans. However, this bunch is quite sociable. They courageously peck bird food from the man's palm while chirping so loudly. He shares his affection with these adorable animals. Such a kind man. Wow, some young ostriches. Despite being rare animals, they are adorable and fluffy. Would you like to snuggle one? This nice lady is scooping them up and feeding them. It's a wonderful position. In the nicest possible way, this person is giving back to nature. For the purpose of luring hundreds of wild parrots to come and eat, he's scattering bird feed on the ground. The moment food is spread out on the ground, a flock of parrots appears and their delightful chirping fills the air. As the birds sit on the ground and pick away at all their food, the ground becomes a sea of vibrant green. What a charming dude. What does this group of kangaroos desire that this cameraman has? As they leap toward the camera, this group is pretty amusing to watch. Even though kangaroos are rather fearsome and can punch hard, it's possible that the man taking this video had some food in his hand to bribe the animals into acting well for the camera. He had better provide for them, or otherwise this kangaroo Bob would become enraged. And believe us when we tell you folks, you don't want to get into a battle with these guys. Because of his intense passion for birds, this man is referred to as Birdman in India. In this endearing video, he can be seen putting together the meal for the neighborhood birds who come to his house every morning to eat. He gets up at 4 in the morning to accomplish this. Up to 4,000 parakeets visit his home after he spreads rice on wooden boards. He adores doing this and would do everything to continue feeding his pet birds. It's odd to see this. These butterflies are peacefully consuming nectar while perched on some tall plant stalks. Although they are scarcely moving, you can see the butterflies feeding as flashes of purple from the blooms poke through. Think about how beautiful this is. Have you ever considered how proficient peacocks can fly? This is a peacock garden and it's teeming with the beautiful, vibrant birds. You can even hear peacocks calling to one another. They are such graceful, wise animals. A man and a woman carefully stroll through the cage while wearing brilliant blue peacock-themed clothes, scattering food for the birds to consume. What an amazing sight. This video depicts a sizable herd of goats. I mean, all 90 of them. They are so content that the young goats even leap onto their parents' shoulders and stroll on top of them. The goats' joyful bleating can be heard and you can almost sense their happiness as they play together in the sunshine. Very adorable. Another flock of ostriches may be seen here. These, however, are all adults now. Compared to the newborns, adult ostriches are a little less adorable. Nevertheless, they are still unusual and fascinating creatures. In this video, they're delighted to eat some crisp green lettuce right out of the woman's hand. Fortunately, they didn't miss and instead bite her hand. Together, these elephants are fleeing from a drinking hole and heading up a significant hill. Did you realize that even elephants can sprint that quickly? They must have finished their meals and drinks and are now searching for a quiet area to unwind away from the bustle of the neighborhood watering hole. Zebras are among the coolest creatures you've ever seen, don't you think? These several zebras communicate with one another by barking loudly and distinctly. They appear to be a little disoriented as they rush around as well. Perhaps they're all looking for a snack because they're hungry. What do you think? This group of tall male giraffes is gathered around a large pole that has some mouth-watering green leaves tied on it. They are unmistakably at a zoo. The giraffes appear quite pleased and are standing in a circle without troubling one another, despite the fact that leaves don't grow on poles like that. These hyenas are eating a cadaver that was left over after a pack of lions had finished eating it. Hyenas are vicious scavengers and have ominous high-pitched yelps. They protect their cadaver from other creatures who are crowding the area to scavenge through the remnants, particularly vultures. Such a distinctive design can be seen on these lovely insects. Their wings' black and white pattern almost resembles a zebra. The butterflies are all flitting in and out of a dish while someone feeds them some mysterious liquid to drink. Have you ever seen butterflies similar to these? That is one method of feeding a lot of cows. This truck is loaded with cow food, and as it travels down the road, it offloads the food for the cows to get in formation and munch on it. The cows rush over to find a location to eat as they are clearly eager for lunch, and they do not want to lose out on a tasty feast because their companions are in the way. The reality about the beef industry is revealed in this video. Look at all the cows in these enormous feedlots. Here, cows are fed and reared until they're large enough to be butchered. This industrial facility doesn't seem to be a very beautiful sight, and similar facilities frequently don't have very excellent circumstances. The fields are barren and arid, and the animals trapped here have nothing to do. This seems to be causing more environmental damage since trash is thrown into surrounding bodies of water. Do you agree that the cows in this video appear to be much happier than the ones in the previous one? They have considerably more space to roam and can run and play on lush green grass. Don't you believe it's much better to support farms like this one as opposed to the large industrial one that we saw, given how beautifully the environment is captured in the drone footage? The cows are really content here. Which sort of farm would you be in favor of? This man is demonstrating how subterranean plumbing works. The hundreds of turkeys who dwell in this barn are fed maize and soybeans. The turkeys appear content with their meal, but they're kept in very small spaces in this barn and receive little sunlight. Without any personal space, life would be very unpleasant. When motivated enough, geese can fly. These geese gather around a woman who is standing on a beach in China because they believe she's holding some delectable treats for them. The geese promptly dip down to the ground to peck at the bird food that she threw into the air. Once everything has been consumed, they strut off and soar into the air so they could fly to hunt more food. On her balcony, this compassionate woman has placed food to entice wild parrots to visit and eat. The parrots have adorable red beaks and emerald green tints. They chirp joyfully as they swarm around the meal, which appears to be rice that the woman set out for them. The birds appear to be well trained and are arranged in a line on either side of the balcony. Tell us in the comments, how would you react if you found something like this? No, it's not a publicity stunt promoting the new season of Stranger Things, but a famous sculpture by French artist Louise Bourgeois. She affectionately called it Mother. Another clip of adorable young birds. In this video, a charming bunch of friends is seen feeding a flock of adorably tiny sparrows in Berlin. They have so much pleasure while feeding the sparrows directly from their hands. Would you wish to attempt this at some point? That concludes the video for today. Tell us which animal you most want to feed by leaving a comment below. If you liked the video, you might want to like and subscribe. Thank you for your time.